Welcome to another session of Move Beyond Your Career Struggles and Setback. Our case study today is Tony. Meet him. He comes in with a total of 9 years of work experience. Even though finding a job is not an issue for Tony, and he has been very easily been able to get into roles and jobs, what really has kept him on an edge, his mind confused, and his heart lacking any kind of satisfaction, or rather job satisfaction, is a sense of belonging. At the current pace, Tony has changed and moved 4 jobs in the past 6 years. And still, he finds himself looking out for another one. What is it that's keeping Tony keep hopping jobs? Also, to let you know, he's not doing it for any kind of financial gains or hikes, because when I worked with him on this particular case, there has not been any significant rise in his salary. Neither he has been able to grow because of his constantly moving in jobs. What really had hampered his growth and was his constant dissatisfaction and disengagement with his roles and jobs, because his mind always wandered and was always pursuing and in search of something he seems to not being able to really find. These are some of the common thoughts that kept Tony awake at night. He couldn't really understood what really was at play, because he's been working for past 9 years. He's worked really hard. For him, success was not money. For him, success was not really getting promoted. For him, success was to find that meaning in his work, that sense of belonging in the teams and the groups that he was part of. And he always found that he was never part of any such group. He never felt that warmth or that sense of belonging. So he often wondered, what do I really want? Why is it that I don't completely agree, not just with his boss's viewpoint, but there were times where he also had conflicts with his colleagues and teammates. And at the same time, work-wise, he was doing really well. He took up everything. He met the deadlines. He kind of was someone very productive at work. But still, he was dissatisfied with whatever he was doing, because the moment he was into a job or a role, the next moment he would start looking for something that's more meaningful, that's where he belonged. During a coaching assignment that lasted for more than 2 months, I adapted a VPL approach. I call this a VPL. It's actually an abbreviation of values, priorities, and long-term thinking. So when Tony reached out to me, he didn't reach out to me to seek any help in finding another job, because he actually had given interviews and was also selected. So he had none of those issues. His issue was his priorities were misplaced. So I began our coaching assignment by helping Tony understand. First was the value part. Values are, friends, those things which are most important to us in life. And our values keep changing over various phases of life. As per our age, just like our perceptions and our belief system undergoes a change, our values also undergo a change. And it's important that we really first understand and identify what really are our values. We can have many values, but at the same time, not every value will be of equally important at a given time. In case of Tony, when I worked with him on a value exercise, there were 30 to 35 values that Tony selected out of the 120 I shared with him. And he was very confused as to what really was important to him. So I had to put him through a simulation technique through which I taught him how he could choose the top 5 values as on given date that are really, really important to him, which will then help him not just in his decision making process, but also find his sense of meaning and identity approval that he was looking for. After our exercise, he was able to really uh, kind of finalize it to the top 7, not 5. And he then understood what really mattered to him the most, which then helped him to the P part of our approach in the VPL, which was he now, after understanding his values, understood his priorities. And basis on this, I helped him create a long-term plan because I told Tony the phase that he was in and with the pace that he was shifting and moving jobs, he will soon land himself in trouble. Not because he's changing jobs, but because he was not picking up any expertise or in-depth experience, but may come across to people as someone who constantly is on a move, maybe for some vested interest. So I helped the final phase in our coaching assignment and coached Tony on planning a long-term thinking, wherein I asked him to come up with a plan using his values and priorities and connecting them back to his career, the role that he was into right now, and figuring out what would really give him that sense and meaning. What really is disengaging him? How can he find a solution to the disengagement? And what he needs to do to get back to the job satisfaction that he enjoyed prior to a moment in his life from where he actually stopped interest. So our long-term plan was not just only about his career or roles, but was to help Tony look at his life and also his professional life, connect the personal and professional and his long-term plan as to what really he needs to do to have a steady and a successful career, which also gives him a sense of meaning, a sense of acceptance, and what he really needs to do at his interpersonal level with his groups and team members, where he was into deep trouble and found himself not being part of any group, what really he needs to do there to build those strong bonding relationships. That was about an assignment that lasted for 2.5 months. And then Tony found his way out of the confusion that he was in. Well, friends, that was about Tony. If just like Tony, you find yourself in pursuit of your own sense of identity, and you find yourself lacking in that sense of meaning, sense of belonging, or having issues, interpersonal issues with a set of team members, there's a time where we really need to pause and work on it. So here are my coordinates. Feel free to connect. Thank you.